stream. A child of countless trees. A child of boundless seas. What you are and what you're meant to be. Speaks his name, though you were born to me. Born to me, Cassady.
They come then down through the Shane, out of the harbor tunnel, and down to the longest strait along the harbor, of course, which is still only 5/8 of a mile, as I recall now, which they get up to 140. But I prefer that. That's better. I like it that way. And that's fine. Just so I can barely hear myself, a little feedback. That's nice, nice, nice. Again, the transmission of a 27 Buick into second gear around the corner at 34th and Dearborn, or was it Clark? Somewhere along there. Now, the trouble with Jack was he knew that when he threw the dang thing through the jewelry store window, he'd better get... Uh-oh, say, what if that gearbox... Well, no what if, son. We're going to pause one more time. And remember, you've only got 20 seconds to grab them and run. Balboa. 38 Buick. That's what it was. 38. Business coupe, not even a jump. But man, could she navigate. In fact, the cat even tried something later on, you know. Buddy, and Screwy's old lady could anyway. It was awful. It wasn't not his old lady at all. But anyway, every day, everywhere I took that car. First, we, you see, we, during the war and all, we leased the gas station together. And then, worked at Firestone 12 midnight until 8 a.m., so I had plenty of time cross town driving. Great stuff there. She navigated. And he tried to buy a 41. Nothing could touch this car. Anyway. That's the way it always is. The right front tire is what it was now, as I remember. The right front is always down in the ditch, in the shoulder. That's why it wear out 2 to 1. Navigate. Now there's an S curve through 38 into the underpass. Boom. That first place I ever stole gas. Heady fumes. My golly. No. Helen Humes. Tell you what it's worth. I remember her name. No, it was. And a Dove. Chevy worse than a Buick. But. And miles ahead again. Miles below. Miles to go at Goshen. What a notion. What do they mean by notions? 5 and 10 notions. In a 5 and dime store, dime grind. One more time. So I took the transmission out of that Essex. I mean, boy, I mean, he was. How many? Start. 921. That's how many cars have been made since the beginning. But I know the one that rhymes with it, too, that Essex. It's a Muleback Essex. It's a tailgate. That's what I was trying to think all the time. So what it was duck. No, it was a turtle. That's the word. Turtleback ethics. The ethics of ethics, the Lord of. Would not. Isn't that interesting? Not only we're given the grace of, like, say, an ascetic, but we can go 20 times faster. Like exceeding 7 times the speed limit. Better not begin at 30, 30, 20, 20, why even 10? That's 70. So we take 5, 35, 10, 70. That was it, the 1070 Dodge Brother Imperial address. Good Lord, those Greeks confusing the Romans again. I'll take Diocletian 254 or something. Diocletian. I'll take 336 in Constantinople. The great Constantine. Isn't it interesting how we have these periods in history like Buddhists and Mohammedans and all contemporary in history at the same time? 333. Oh, I see, it's BC. Alexander. The coppersmith, that's what Wednesdaze said in the... actually, Romans 12:12. I suppose no, it wouldn't be that dolphin. But the Romans and the Greeks... well, they couldn't even go 35, except when the fastest horse for only shortest stretch is 36, something like that, I guess. Wise drive 36 miles, to mention the word, to work every morning from to Kimball, Nebraska. From, yeah, above in there, you know, the town, of course, doesn't matter much because it was up in Lemon. Yeah, Lemon, not Lyman in the south, but, oh, gosh, good old Granny. Well, he was his son, his brother-in-law, something bloody. He wasn't bloody, but I mean his car was. It was a side-by-side, 36 miles, 6 a.m., straight north every morning. Finest thing I was driving at the time. Actually, you know what? I was driving a 35 Ford. That I had, yeah, we'll go into that some other time, but that's why I always liked in the parking lot those backward doors. 34, they changed over, you know, the line. Ford body. I've got it now. The new wife of Henry II. Right, the Italian girl. That's the best line of the Ford line that I can think of offhand, anyhow. Contemporary age sort of thing. And you know, Lenny Bruce is 39 as well. My gosh. Let's construct a little thing like, say, well, Lenny get out on the corner and post the doorman to where anybody, just as he's running off stage, any crowd out there is supposed to say, well, Lenny, you know, he's sneaking out. So there goes Lenny out the side, ostensibly hiding. But instead of ducking down the side, gosh, men alive, I've done it many times myself. That particular street's Montgomery. 1010's where knock herself off. But not out the same window anyway. With Ginsburg and all it was. So we put that transmission in second, all right. Navigating on that hotel. Not the one with the, so then Lenny, with the crowd of admirers, if he could find some, ditching them in to say, well, they'll find a getaway across the street, say, where they could follow him on this side while he on that, not more than, say, what? 1 block away, yeah. He set up job. The owner that could pay him to do so, now hiding, sitting the open-air table, eh? So why shouldn't others do so? Still not. So the first planted chill comes up, the 2 of the 5. The second group, a couple, of course. So cleanly nondescript as to be dirty. Absolutely perfect in every way, like from grandma to respectable, and yet wrong line. Spin and get out. Pikes Peak climb. 14,201? No. 14,069, something along that line. But the actual course is 13,611, as I recall. That's right. Almost 3 miles. Now, I've climbed that mountain many times myself. Not as many as Buffalo Bill's lookout. But mostly 63% of outside hairpin curves is over the shelf, you know what I mean. You can't make your time cutting off them corners without making a straighter line. So, going wrong this curve, set up for that. Right. Unless, well, like a flat, or suspension change, or too much gas even, sensitive. That's what it was. 38th and Galapagos underpass. That truck came through there, and I heard this scraping. You know what it was. 10-8, and he was 11 foot clearance. So I dropped my garden hose, 5-gallon can. Last time ever siphoned any gas until I was somewhere up in the snow country, as I recall now, sliding down colder than hell. I mean, I freeze on a... What not to I couldn't get that thing out of gear. If I didn't do that right away, I know more than that. It freezed my ass. Well, the worst of it was cold sliding down there on that stuff. Fun later on. 13. That's what it is today now, the reverse of 31. In fact, the way I learned I was colorblind was, as youngsters will do, out there on the grass and all. To me it looked red, and they'd go by and they'd hit second gear. 30 transmission. The Nash Lafayette, as I recall. First mistaken gesture of stolen nation. And he said, the grass red, you're nuts. I was so mad at that grass, I learned cars. Why, that old Buick? In fact, by that time, I know I couldn't get the stamp, the certificate. So I think I was only 13, I was. Hitchhiked into 39, that's right, Kansas, and stole a pair of plates. Hitchhiking back, hot day and all, the sheriff of local town said, what you got under your vest there, boy? And I said, well, that's just my chest there. The vest and the chest weren't right. No, 8 days. So, Buick's gone. My first left, I come into the principal's car, that's what it was, that's right, and I learned to drive everything. Reminds me later on the Model A. Didn't have brake one on it, no. You know what I did? Over the floorboard, I nailed the pedal on it, nailed. Well, I used to hit curbs like when I was on my first job with bicycles, bouncing off because it was a single, no brakes on it. I'd hit cars, bounce between them, throw my feet out, just like you throw out the feet to guide yourself on the rocks. And man, I tell you, sliding right through, real straight. The Model A. Well, I always had to stop going into something, but bouncing off curbs, nothing to it. But you know what really amounted to? I found out that you could throw into reverse anything under 10 miles an hour. Yeah, that transmission, nothing like the Essex. Why, that 27 Buick, just like the Essex, straight 6 it was. I left on the streets in L.A., right there on Wilshire. Same place like I go today, almost, by 7th and up at 2561, something like that. 2532, no, auditorium there, Universal Guidance. Drive better in there without even taking your eye off the hemisphere, the Unisphere in New York back there. You know who actually designed that? That's true, same guy that set it up, I'd say. And I don't mean the other one, but you know his first name, too. That's who it was, the guy who went to the World's Fair, 65. Robert Moses. And U.S. Steel put it up. 73 today, I suppose he is. I don't mean steel, cyclone, and hurricane, force winds later on today. Now, you come over here, Missy Lou, I say. The nose behind. It's going up that ground. The grapevine, all the way out of L.A. I was on Figueroa at the time, right out of that tunnel. That's the first time I ever bought a gross condoms. I was so excited I made him actually, you know what it was? The other fella bet me $10 it was a man. You're out of your mind. Yep. She ran across the street new. Just like she was born, she ran. Well, at least that isn't how it began, but husband's little Filipino. She's big, tall, natural blonde, kind of redhead, you know, kind of that sparkling, like sort of like you might take a Ann Sheridan, a little too dark, but a little lighter on. Like actually, the falseness of Rita Hayworth as a redhead, that sort of a sheen. Boom, nice and clean. Bum, bum, bum. But anyways, almost anything's better than being judged by Roy Bean. I was given to understand there was lying tree, you know, you can hang from any tree. But right now, you're hanging on this one with me. Climb that tree faster than you can skin the cat. Well, now, wait a minute now. Something else there. I didn't want to say it quite that way, but when you got... Now, the D8. 9. And the biggest of the commercial line, D12. Twin sixes. I'd rather have that than the V16. Seagrave lost his life same way, 25 like the Auto Union, 35. They get better, but same thing, wind, you know, and put him right in the surf. Well, you know, tide came in, that's true, too. The stupidity of a lost scene is the stupidities of in between. Now, you heard that finger come down on that string there. There was changing the in-between. So 12, 9. I think the little D6, too, but 8's the most popular one. Handle anything. The most versatile range, like the third gearbox on International. We're Capitol's ship for an ocean trip with a 27 Buick 8. No, wind that blew, dismayed. Well, now, wait a minute. That side curtain, too. Wind all the time. You couldn't tell anything, but hardly even tell what's before, behind. Actually, I'll confess, I'll grind. But going down again, hardly even mattered what was behind. Because when you go over a pass like Berthoud, Rabbit Ears and all, with only second and third, first and second, without only with low and high, you know how that second gear needs it. I tell you, 27 Essex, no transmission, nothing there on LA. That's what I say. On LA Street one day. Same time I had a 37 Dodge. During the war, was about 43, I'd say. I sold it because the tires. Now, that sort of thing one doesn't want to do ahead, like cross a bridge, plan for it, too, like whether whoever's at it, Cincinnati's, Heredities, or other. But roadblocks, now, that's something else. Don't go on the wrong side of the bridge railing. That is, of course, unless you, really wailing. Well, in fact, the first thing I did, going toward Colorado Springs, Pikes Peak, same rail. I hardly know, of course, that, who's to say that on the first curve, first stop sign went a half block through? Fur. Too fur. But I didn't go too far, I went too fast, was it? You know what happened right there? That's true. Right front wheel came on. Well, what are you gonna do? At that point, all you can do is blast. So you see right then, it don't matter much whether you're doing is choosing this side of the curve or that side of the curve. You've got to go on the other side of that railing, or else, now, to tell you the truth, smash, blast the smashes. Because it can be chests. Well, After a curlicue or two around in the orchard there, you know, that was the second post, the bastion and all to be missed, but the cloud of dust, I'm telling you, it raised more than a quarter mile. But actually, I felt more sheepish, you know, my face was rather, well, talk about crimson. I never did approve of red, Ferrari red especially. But now I've been modified into the flaming orange there, because I see there's nothing much there. It's a natural condition anyway. Unless you go on the wrong side of the railing of the bridge, either when the wrong time come, or at least in that day, whatever's in the way is gonna join you. They ain't fighting against you. Remember that, son. All they can do is make you look sheepish, unless, of course, you feel a little something else kind of creepish, and I don't mean like they say on the railroad, what if you got one? Always tell by the fear in the belly how limits your jaw. Brethren, Fernando's hideaway, indeed Fernando's fright away. Ain't no spade drivers out there, I say. Ain't even anybody but the man like Mexicans. They're all heart and cockles, boys. But it's a result of the thinking, not being afraid. Why there no spade or even economic, I don't know what I mean to say, but there ain't many suicides out those boys anyway. That's why. My brethren, bearing you bangers, today as well as Aborigines along the way, these drums are going to tighten up some, and we get the kettle here just about the right way. Brethren, we've gathered here today, pow, as the pilot, 42 it was, I'd say. It wasn't 43 at all. I had 7 pairs of shoes, and I can still recall. No tires, but them shoes. Brethren, today, the music will take over most of the way. And has been. Now, for the first time, I'll start listening to it. I'm going to tell you something about them Arabian slave traders anyway. Air-conditioned Cadillacs and say, Yemen, all that mess. And I don't mean just pork. They're white or otherwise. Like lightning cone liquor, all right. So now, what we need is more of that Tennessee Jack Daniels, you know. Something that...
Every time I hear the air, especially the wind out there, I think of the eyes like in a doll opening and close. Da-da, ma, Saha, and Soho. The blackberry, bittersweet Larry from Okefenokee came across the clue that followed through, became the worst of the poetry of Shelley. I didn't say Shelley, too bad. I mean, too glad, contemporary and all within a generation. So they decided then and there to name the fountain after old Lady Lou. Or was it Beer Barrel Nellie? What a belly, I know it was a result of Farracoke. Oh dear, what a struggle. I don't know, Mr. Elgard, if your pomp and circumstance could ever quite come. Dear me, there's Roll up your pants. They seem to be waiting for, yes, the sunrise from Montebello. No, another fellow. Oh, never laugh when a hearse goes by. Unless, of course, it comes across, like it would fly. Indeed, it must. I tell you now, we say we live today. Hurry up, we must prevent that crime. Oh, hurry up, we'll get there in the nick of time. We don't even be there, we don't got to kerosene there. We're gonna be way tonight. No, I don't know. Yes, I think so too. It's a coach. No, it's a moat. Once more the hordes invaded the western coast. But, say, it could, it would, it should, it could. We want to be there. We want to be there in the time. We're going to be there in plenty of time. We're going to make it all in line. No, I say, unless there's a problem in the kerosene, or unless there's water in the gasoline. How despair affects me because I am going. No, if you keep the air, or else me, I see, or me. I mean, there's no air in the spare, but plenty out there. We'll get to then 60 per without a well, there's a problem somewhere out there. An anxiety that's come across, we will. It'll come to it soon anyway. I say, go and find the foe. The foe, you know, is not the one. Then the one, you know, the foe is not a foe no more. Unless there is another another stage. What? No. Get in. Full undress. Dress out. Get there. No. The Count. Guadalupe. No. Who is this? Barbarossa. No. Henry Christopher. No. Off. No. Balboa. No. Boulevard. No. Juarez. No. No, I know. Of course. Say, old man. Custer's group, and then I'm going to find the troop, and then I will be with her, without her, without her, blue, red, and blue. In fact, Lord Tennyson, yes, he did drive. All you young cats out there, Tennyson drove. Why? Alfred Lord Tennyson's one of his driving souls. In fact, 100 years ago, it was Lord Tennyson, here we go. And Lord Tennyson, don't you know? But Alfred, now he had another thing in mind. He had in mind Romero, Alfred Romero, Caesar. Couple. July and August and driving through June. What'd that cost us? God dang, get that gear up there again. I tell you, if you don't keep bumping that old boy, you ain't gonna get nothing out of 1910. No, nothing at all. You went 104.5, 105.4, I don't know at all. But when you take a radiator and just put it aesthetically and practical, I mean, even keel out there in the open way, no one can see it. Why is it clean? I said, drive, man, steal. I said, drive, steal, anytime. I tell you, that boy, he went around and around. He made everything, it looked like it was going to all right. In fact, steel driving, you know the man, of course. He had to... There was that engineer Hopkins. I was Hopkins' son. In fact, Helen Hopkinson's was. Rasumi's great-granddaddy, the mother. Well, anyway, it went that boy that really, when it comes to the other cars, I put them all down like man, he'd say. His mother, it wasn't even that way. One of them said later on, you know what they said? Wouldn't be so bad. It wouldn't, honestly, it wouldn't if he was only, and that's the truth, they said, if he's only human. Be beat by something human? Please, John. Please. He lapped him again. He lapped him again. He lapped him again. He lapped him so many times. Turn on the radio. Here it come in right now. Put it right to him there. He said, hit me. Now hit me. Now here we go now. Gonna drive right through it. Up, 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 up. Ah, backwards. That's right. Up. That's a nice S. Yep. What's an S? Elongated or otherwise, but half an eighth. Up, 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 up. Depends on which end of the spout. Well, now. Except, of course, Shreveport, outside Atlanta, it wouldn't matter, but down in New Orleans, it's a straight 55. Flat out. About, yeah, each curve perfect. Laid out. Artificial road, you see, could be, then you ain't no guessing. In fact, that's just what's wrong with Langhorne PA today. It's the only completely circular 1 mile track. That's right. And they found when they get 100 miles an hour above it, they haven't got the peripheral, the left eye. You see, they don't see. Isn't it blind spots what it is, Master? It's true. Ted Holmes was first killed there in 32 in the red dust. No, that was the Atlanta Raceway again. I saw that red dust was 98 flat. They only had another one to go, you see. That's right. The Ted who hit the run ahead of him. God bless his name, he's still around a long time, was. But Ted Holmes was the first great. In fact, 36. In an old V8, he took that Maserati there, that great Ascari it was. Young Ascari, Alfredo. He won, of course, 37 as well, as I understand. But the Maserati is true. It was the last foreign car to win the 1939 it was, Indianapolis. Again, the Maserati 6, of course. Well, I was there in 40 when Floyd Roberts got his. No, it was a year after, sorry. No, I'd say 40 it was, that's right. He was on that back straight, that's right. About 255, but not that far away, about 145, something like that. Floyd Roberts, you understand, had won the year before, so I was interesting because Floyd had gone up only 119 average at the time. But he had an odd rake front end on it that was just a little nice because the front suspension was ahead. Why'd that give him? That gave him more feel, didn't it? You see, like that dumb Campbell builds the front end, he puts his head shots up ahead. Well, he can't feel what's happening behind. You got to be behind it all to feel what's happening ahead of what's happening ahead of you so you can stay ahead of it. That's all there is to it. When you start putting all that stuff behind you, you don't know where you is. You're sitting out there blind like the front of a bomber. You don't, oh, well, now in the sky, something else, but every foot is a road of challenge, you see. You got something right there you got to put your mind to, or at least if you're going to get any pleasure to any degree, make it worth it. You don't want to just go fluting right through it, of course, but another time, perhaps, we could have the driving school with Parfio Tafari, the Silver Giant. Man alive there. Well, no jive there. That's right, fine now. Oh, he's going a little further up the line there. So now Fangio, above 120, lowers his goggles for the first time, you know. Drive, man alive, Fangio. Every way. No, only one. Formula One.
Double not one. That's Fangio. No, sir. As true blue as any record's ever held me out. And I can give you quite a few. 1411 for years it was. Bill Sefton, Earl Meadows, yeah, the vault. 49, 20 more. That's the end of the war long before. Well, anyhow, Fangio, that boy became very late in life. Very late that cat came in. 37 before he won his first race. 22 flat tires he had going around Argentina once, twice, whatever it was, 1,000 miles. No 38 Chevrolet. There he goes. Now, of course, with such natural, I got dry. That's what trained him. Nothing roughed him, man alive. You think you'd miss a shift like in Thailand? Once. One. Little bitty itty witty. Hit a tree. After the top of his career and all. What he had? I'll tell you, boys, you know what he had? 3 races in 8 days. And it was the end of the races, so he was doing 20, 30 laps, so he was tired, and he's definitely tired. That's a difficult, hard 120-mile-an-hour curve there. It's really a figure S again, that when we started this mess with an 8. But reverse. That back reverse 8 that come off. I'll tell you what, it's one of the most famous curves on the Nuremberg ring, if I could remember it. Yes, I think that's at Castle Ring corner. Castle Ring, that's it. Cursal Ring with the K. K-U. Yes, that's definitely so. The Cursal Ring. Carrerachi, never could pronounce it. Dratch. Of course, they have the other fellow, too, but Rudy Carracciola. He'll show you how to take that Cursal Ring. In fact, he was the one ahead to see like Fangio. A generation ago, whereas Nuvolari with the DOS and the dash and all, but in fact, of course, Nuvolari is tops forever. But 2 types of bend always will be, always is so. Where you see the fast. And then the Beetle Bomb the last. Charlie 2. Hernando and Fernando. Peter, Paul, Mary, and... Oh, are you a hootenanny? Say, I got a brother. Martin's brothers, that's who I is. I play back rhythm beat to back street rhythm into Back Bay. In fact, back boogie woogie from Boston to L.A. I was headed that way. I ain't gonna jive until man alive, give me one more little line that's faster, double that. Up, 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 up. L.A. A little faster. Now, backwards. So's a master. But master is leisure.
Crib, oh yes, well. Easy on there, ease off on that rev here. Stop that, go back to 4. All right, sir. There, try. Come on now, you're not even interested yet. It did. It slipped off the guard. Well, I'll leave it there right at the moment because I'm in 4th. Nice work. Nice work of nice before. I'll leave it there. The road is no better than its weakest link, you see. The weak... In every action or thing like here, there's a weak spot. Now, that weak spot is always attacked by the highest of the next lower forces. Like 2nd dimensional, 3rd dimensional, 4th dimensional. Worlds separate, but worlds that still touch. 2nd, 3rd to touch, 2nd, 4th, 4th to touch, 5th. It seems that 3-dimensional space and 3-dimensional time. 4th and 6th of time, then, the 4th dimensional concept of time and what actually it is our subconscious, our soul mind, our thought, our consciousness even, is in that same 4th dimension. We are actually 4th dimensional beings in a 3rd dimensional body inhabiting a 2nd dimensional world. By now, while I say 2nd dimensional on the primary movements like the elementals, what I was thinking of, that seemed to get through on the last eighth quarter to an eighth of the roaches here. I mean, nothing personal, nothing. He was vicious all to the end, but his eyes softened and he was... Now, that's just a warning. There's only one thing. Don't let it happen again. That's what the warning's for, see? As soon as I said no ticket, he'd start to write my name. And I saw him pause again, and I was in the portion... Well, let me recall a little better chronologically then, perhaps. Of this third movement, major portion, critical point of decision, he starts to write my name, making. And I felt, and I'll tell you why it went over, because up my spine came the Kundalini again. Not the Kundalini as a purified, not the real Kundalini, the cleansed centers, of course not. See, we're living, gentlemen, by the four lower centers of the endocrine glands. The centers, of course, the ductless glands, the sex glands, the gonads, and the cells of lighting, the adrenals, and the thymus. Thyroid, yes, our thymus. No one was there, but I waved anyhow, just in case. He was fucking her with only his eyes above the dashboard. Speeders lose licenses. Concerto di la passing diesel. And a hot red galaxy. One more like. There's another diesel. Oh, he's behind me. I wonder why he didn't pass. Well, I have someone to stay ahead of. 50 miles, New York, 50. 50 miles. Pass. Pass. All right, here we go. One-handed delight. No. That's masturbating. No. That's a Lincoln. Well, that's good enough. It's put 15-inch wheels on. All right, for you, diesel. For you only, sir. Back again. Kent. Smoke, Kent. You know the real name of the shadow. On the other hand, Doc Savage has done it many times with monks and the others. And as far as an authoritarian figure need, I even had the spider. When I was 10, too. The mother's dead, you know. I decided I had to start taking care of Father. So by sure enough, I was 13. His old lady at the time had a couple of boys older than me, but first orgasms and all, 13 and a half. We won't leave before midnight Saturday, yeah? And then only see Brad, all I know is Sunday the 28th. Well, that would be, he might have been there Sunday morning, then. That's bad. Be on the Sunday night, it'd be just right. 24 hours later, leaving Kalamazoo. St. Louis, too, and so on. East St. Louis, toodaloo, whoop-whoop-a-doo. Go, Navy. And Penn State. Carolina, aluminium. And there is strict, like I was thinking of it, stricken. But mainly more like arsenic and old lace. Strict 9, like a cat, exit 9, next exit 9 miles. Get that on film, forget it. Exit 9, next exit 9, although it says 2 miles, but that's the standard. The Romans, of course, had the furlong, as do many, like horses still retain. 1/8 mile, 220 yards, or, thank you, officer, calling attention to himself. Unnecessarily, Mr. Cassady proceeded north. Total 9, exit 9. Love potion number 9. That's what they left off out there. Love potion number 9.
I lost little potion number 9. Well, anyhow, the voodoo then, the black magic, is when I first said number 9, knew that that's what I would refer back to again. But really, I was priding myself on the viewing of the exit 9 sign, which led to left voices and so on. Now, the late recall factor is used in all methods of dealing with younger, like children, like IQ 80s and Southerners, and many Northerners. We're all in it together. New Jersey, Brunswick, East Brunswick, Rutgers. See, there's nothing worse than that is the gigolo, than the old gigolo, the con man gigolo. It's a terrible thing. Well, like Corso might fall into. Indeed, advocates falling into that.
Now I sit by my window and I watch the cars. I fear I'll do some damage one fine day. But I would not be convicted by jury of my peers. Still crazy after all these years. Oh, still crazy. Still crazy. Still crazy after all these years.
Review Magazine cordially invites you to attend the first perennial Party Hoo-Ha, Sunday, June 6, 1976. D-Day all day, MacArthur Court, University of Oregon campus.
Foul, no rhetoric, 2-1. What is this all up to? Can't you guess?
This is a way that I think artists can begin to get a larger piece of their hit. Bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger until when it pops.
As Commissioner of Sewers, I would not be called upon to pet babies, make speeches, shake hands, have lunch with the Queen.
No way out of TV, no way off Mars, the moon, the sun's radiant energy. No way, no way.
We've had them bigger than that.
Did you ask yourself today, self, what can I do? What will I do for you and you and you? How human are you?
That's enough. That's enough.
Oh, my lover, he was a logger. There's none like him today.
Who wants to be a poet if you go on TV and all those cowboys watch it?
Good day, sunshine. Good day, sunshine. Good day, sunshine. I need to laugh, and when the sun is out, I've got something I can laugh about. I feel good in a special way.
The early 70s and the dusty bins in Kesey's barn comes Kesey's Garage Sale. Once again available in hardback, this explosive collection of nostalgia comes to life. Due to popular demand, this collector's item is now being made available to you exclusively through Kesey Productions. Kesey's Garage Sale features 5 hot items, which are brought to you by such artists as Ken Kesey, Neal Cassady, Allen Ginsberg, Paul Krasner, Wavy Gravy, Ken Babbs, and many more. Kesey's Garage Sale will come to you personally autographed by Ken Kesey. This offer is as good only as long as supplies last. To order your copy of Kesey's Garage Sale, please send your check or money order in the amount of $25 to Kesey Productions, Post Office Box 764, Pleasant Hill, Oregon, 97455.
The next musician is coming up. I heard of him. I heard him play when I was in Panama. I heard his songs, and I had the pleasure later on meeting him in person. Carlos Santana.